Hello, welcome to the show. Monday, August the 7th, technically a holiday, so um, I'll expect double watch time from you all now. So I should be getting double time and a half today, but yeah, sadly it's a civic holiday, so I'm here. Not doing anything anyway, so I might as well be with you. Welcome to it. Got a few things to talk about this week. Not a heavy news week, but a couple things on my mind, so I'm just going to share them with you. Before I get into that, if you are watching, like I say every time, hope you're subscribed. And if you aren't, hit that subscribe so you don't miss any notifications or any of that kind of thing. Also, it helps me out, obviously. Subscriber base is growing steadily but slowly. So you could help that out by subscribing a number of times or share with your friends. Also, like the podcast or any of the videos that I post on the channel as well. That would help out tremendously with the algorithm too. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about the Nick Diaz, or not Nick, Nate Diaz, Jake Paul fight that happened on Saturday. If you weren't aware, which I wasn't really until I caught something about it. I forgot. It seemed like it was further away. So we'll talk about that. Justin Trudeau split up with his wife after 18 years. Finally, I guess, I don't know. Finally, she saw he's a tool bag. I don't know. I don't know what happened exactly, but yeah, it's I guess that's newsworthy. She's finally seeing what the rest of us see. Uh, UFOs. This is funny to me. So I guess about a month ago, they sort of did like congressional hearings or something about UFOs being real or actual finding like actual um, crash sites with biological remains that either aren't human or possibly aren't human. I'm not sure exactly what's going on with this, but doesn't seem to be stirring people up, which is kind of funny to me. Maybe we're just so desensitized with all the baloney in the news and things we're going things that are going on now that we just don't really care that much. But yeah, we'll talk about that. Also, Vivek Ramaswamy. You haven't heard of this guy? He is he's a Republican candidate for presidency. He's kind of making some waves. He's kind of like the I would say he's kind of like the RFK Jr. On the Republican side. So he's gaining some traction. He's he's like a I think if he had run if he were he's young. So but if he had run in 2016, he might have given Trump a pretty good run for his money. Because people were looking for that and they didn't know what Trump could kind of do. And now that they've seen Trump, I don't think he's got a chance. But he will sort of make waves, and you never know. Maybe Trump will make him his running mate, something like that. But we'll talk about him. Uh, a pretty disgusting story to talk about with a Canadian resident being denied a transplant. I'm not going to get too much into it now, but we'll discuss that. It's pretty gross all the way. And I like to talk about some of these people online that like to mess with the culture. And there's a guy named Joey B. Tunes. He's he does these videos that make fun of TikTokers, and they do pretty well. So we'll talk about him. I'll play one of his videos. Quite funny. I'll help his subscriber count by at least 100 after you see how funny he is, and you know, and get to like him. So, but yeah. So without further ado, let's kind of get into it. Let me pop up the first sort of story here. Yeah, so like I said on Saturday, uh, Nate Diaz finally fought Jake Paul, and well, didn't exactly go Nate's way. Um, if you watch the fight, I didn't watch the fight. I just caught all the highlights of it. It looked, I mean, as far as a boxing match, it looks like it was probably a pretty decent boxing match. The problem with Nate Diaz is he's really not. He's not a boxer. Like he's a scrapper. If you see his boxing style, it's kind of goofy looking. Realistically, he doesn't look crisp or clean when he's throwing punches. They kind of look soft a little. Like he doesn't seem to put a lot behind the punches. But I don't know. Never been hit by a Nate Diaz punch. But he's a scrappy guy, so he does really well in a scrappy fight. But since boxing is kind of like theater at this point, it's a lot of it's a lot of dancing and shucking and jiving and all that. He didn't do so well. So Jake Paul kind of exposed that as far as a boxer, I think Nate Diaz is probably pretty pedestrian. Um, so he beat him pretty handily. I think overall it was a unanimous decision anyway. But overall, the scorecards, I think they pretty much had Jake Paul winning every round except for I think maybe the first round. First round, Jake or Nate came out pretty, pretty guns blaring. He was kind of like he was backing Jake Paul up a lot, and chasing him a lot. But then it kind of just became tee off time for Jake Paul, who, by the way, like him or not, he's a good boxer. Um, Definitely considering he was a YouTuber just like what 3 years ago, and now he's a boxer. He's a good boxer. He's gonna lose to top tier guys. I mean, he lost to Tommy Fury, who's not even a top tier guy. But I think he's young. He's 26 or something. So he's got a bunch of years, and he seems to be getting better and better and better. I really think this guy could end up being a you know maybe even a top 10 boxer. At this point now, I don't think he's any of that. I think it's just about the money and such, right? This kind of screamed paycheck all the way. But I'm not disparaging these guys for wanting a paycheck. Let me just read a little bit of this article here. It's very short anyway. So Jake Paul continues to make good on his promise to outbox former MMA stars. While he wasn't able to score the finish of Nate Diaz that he was expecting, Paul badly outclassed his opponent again en route to a decision victory from the American Airlines Center in Dallas on Saturday. Paul, who's 7-1 with 4 KOs, timed up his shots well and battered Diaz around the ring. Though Diaz stayed in the fight for the duration, Paul did score a knockdown of Diaz in round 5. It was kind of like it wasn't really a knockdown. He kind of like he hit him and he kind of lost balance a bit. When he caught him with a check hook and sent Diaz into the ropes and staggering for a bit. Diaz did regain his sense and continue to fight, but he was unable to generate sustained offense to keep Paul off of him. Now Paul hopes to get revenge on Tommy Fury. Blah blah blah. So that's basically it. It just talks about some other baloney. But yeah, I mean, not much to say about this fight. It was good. I mean, for a boxing match, it's pretty good. Um, but if you've never seen, I should say, if you've never seen a Jake Paul fight or even highlights of a Jake Paul fight, you should check it out. Realistically, it's he's a good boxer. I mean, gotta give him credit. He hits hard. You can tell he steps into the punches. He hits hard, and he's fast. Um, I don't know what he weighs. I think he's around 200 pounds or something. So he's a quick guy for 200 pounds. He definitely made Nate Diaz look pretty, you know, like he looked like he didn't belong in the boxing ring, which is weird. You got a guy like Nate Diaz who's a gamer all the way, and Nate Diaz's face looked pretty beat up. Like his eyes were all swollen. And even in the presser afterwards, he was wearing glasses. So, and Jake Paul didn't look like he was even really touched. But that's the thing about Nate Diaz. Like I said, I don't think he has the punching power to knock anybody out or really do that. But put him in a ring, put him in an MMA ring against Jake Paul it wouldn't last 30 seconds. He'd have him quick. So it's you're getting you know one outclasses one in the boxing, the other completely outclasses the other in the other arena, the MMA arena. So yeah, maybe they'll fight on Nate's turf and give him a chance to redeem himself. I doubt it. All right. So let's go on to True Dumb. The True Dumb story here. Let me get this over. Yeah. So as you know by now, I'm Canadian. So these stories mean something to me. Justin Trudeau separated with his wife of 18 years, who she's a pretty good looking woman for 48. I can't say I've ever really looked at her too close, but she looks pretty good. Um, I mean, apparently he's good looking. I think he's such a tool that it's hard to say. Anyways, I don't know what this is. After 18 years, and it's maybe this is real, maybe it's not. I don't know. The response on Instagram was very just you know robotic, very calculated. They both had the same response. So they're clearly a, you know, political family, I guess, if you will. Kind of remind me, they're like the Clintons of Canada. It's like this uniform or unified front, you know. We're gonna and you hear her speak. I watched a little bit of her speaking after, and she sounds like him. It's like I guess you're together 18 years and you start sounding like each other. It's irritating. If you've ever heard Justin Trudeau, well, I'm sure you have, but when you hear him speak, and it's a you know it's a prepared speech. He's insufferable. Just he just sounds like an idiot. He's all the pauses and all the we're doing this for Canada. Like everything's like that. Everything's just this contrived bullshit. He sounds so disingenuous. What if you hear him when he's just speaking and he's not prepared anything? He sounds normal. So I don't know who taught him to speak this way, or maybe because he was a drama teacher. I don't know. But anyways, I'll read this article just a little bit. See what it says here. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and his wife Sophie Gregor Trudeau have decided to separate, according to statements posted online by both of them. Sophie and I would like to share the fact that after many meaningful and difficult conversations, we have made the decision to separate. Trudeau wrote in a message posted to his Instagram account. Trudeau is 51 and Gregor is 48. We're married in May 2005 and have 3 children together. Blah, blah, blah. As always, we remain close family with deep love and respect for each other and for everything we have built and will continue to build. Blah, 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 blah. Anyways, so they're asking for privacy. All right. So I guess so. She got kind of popular from doing charitable stuff, probably from um, padding the family assets as much as you can while in power. But yeah, so I don't know. This article's nothing. Okay, the rest of it's just stupid. Just talking about I don't know bullshit, bunch of bullshit. It is a CBC article, so you get what you expect with these kinds of articles. Um, but again, I don't know. I just kind of feel like with the timing and such, just I don't know. Maybe this is some kind of like get ahead of the politics or something because you got Pierre chasing his ass, and Pierre's, you know, right now, if there was an election tomorrow, Pierre would win. Polyev, by the way, that's what I'm speaking of. Um, so I don't know. I don't know what this is. If this is like the timing seems a little weird, but maybe not. Maybe it's just maybe the timing's the timing. Maybe they just decided she just couldn't take any more of his prepared speeches or something. I don't know. I don't know. But hopefully he gets out. He takes himself out just as fast as she kind of uh, kicked his ass to the curb, or I'm assuming she kicked his ass to the curb because realistically, I don't know how anybody could have spent 18 minutes with the guy, let alone 18 years. But I guess good on her. Yeah, all right. Well, we'll see how that pans out, but I don't know. I again with that guy, everything's fake, so could be uh, could be something. He could be doing something here. Um, he could be trying to get ahead of this next political well, this next election, I should say. Um, but whatever. It's Canadian news, and I'm sure any of you watching from the U.S. don't really care. We just need to get rid of all of the leaders, all of the Western leaders right now, and just replace them with people that are actually less inept. So that would be nice. Um, okay, all right. Let's get right into this one. So I don't know. You would think aliens being semi-confirmed as being real. I mean, at least hearing it from legit sources that they're most likely real would move the mercury with people, but it doesn't seem to be gaining any traction in the news. You see a lot of memes as far as like people making fun of the timing on it, almost like they're trying to distract us with this. So it could just be that maybe people aren't believing this, but I don't know. I feel like we should be believing this. We have a whistleblower that's this isn't a nobody. You know what I mean? This is like this guy is he's decorated in some way. I'm going to read this article here. It's from NBC News. So of course, like I always say, take it with a grain of salt. Sometimes they get it okay. We'll see how they do with this one. So are aliens real? People online don't seem to care either way. The news that the government may be in possession of non-human biological matter and UFOs was met with surprising apathy online. The House Oversight Subcommittee on National Security, Border and Foreign Affairs held a hearing on UFOs, officially known as Unidentified Anomalous Phenomenon, or UAPs. They've changed that name because UFOs seem to have like this stigma attached to it, I think, from like the 50s and 60s and stuff. So I think they changed it to that to kind of give it a little bit more spice. But uh, lawmakers called for more transparency about UAPs and raised national defense concerns. While the Defense Department has said there's no evidence linking UAPs to aliens yet, many social media users still took the hearing as proof aliens exist. Okay, well, I mean, that could be it right there. I mean, if people are in the know and they go, hey, you know what? They're not really saying it, they're just kind of saying it. Maybe that's why we're just not getting alarmed yet. Um, the hearing did spawn a lot of memes, but many of them signaled how uninterested users were in the findings. Okay, let me see. It's funny that they were talking about UFOs and non-human biologics in a hearing yesterday, and nobody's paying any attention. There are so many conspiracy theories going on right now. We aren't even fascinated by Area 51 anymore. I love when people say that. Conspiracy theories. Yeah, there's so many conspiracy theories going on. Just like I won't say it, but just like the one that went on for like 3 years. That one too. A bunch of memes here. I guess people had posted online. Let's see if it gets back to the article. Um, no, you know what? That's a fluff article. Anyways, at least they're actually reporting on it, which is kind of nice considering. I'm surprised that they didn't just sort of fluff this one off and pretend like it didn't exist, but maybe that's kind of their way of doing it. Maybe maybe they learned that you don't that you just kind of say something, just put it out there and then go, "Meh," and then everybody else goes, "Eh." And then you can say that aliens likely exist and nobody really does or says anything about it. I don't know, but it'll be nice to see if somebody actually chases this down a little, and this isn't like okay, well we're looking into this, and then we're no longer looking into it anymore. It's like the Biden laptop or anything. It's like you don't hear anything about it, and then it just kind of goes away. So, but there's a lot of anecdotal evidence, and even better than anecdotal evidence at this point that there's something out there. The special or the Navy especially, like they see all kinds of stuff out on the water, and they've and Air Force, they see all kinds of things too. They haven't, I guess, a lot of these guys don't really say anything yet, but I think you're going to see if somebody opens the door, like if this is the door opening on this, you could see a lot of people um, coming through, a lot of whistleblowers coming out, especially if the first whistleblower doesn't get in any kind of shit and they go, okay, well, this is kind of like free time to go ahead and say what I know. I hope so. I hope that we start to see some real evidence or people take some interest in this because realistically, this is long overdue. I think. Um. All right. Well, this is obviously an ongoing story. We'll see how this goes. I'll kind of keep. This is right in my wheelhouse of interest, so I'll kind of keep my eye on it and see if there's anything new. But it doesn't seem like anything's kind of in the mainstream. So, um, I don't know. It'll be. I feel like it'll be a little bit of a chase. I'll do that for you. Okay. You just sit back and wait for me to report to you any new findings. Let me get the next thing going here. All right. So this guy Vivek Ramaswamy. If you don't know who he is, he's a billionaire. He's a brilliant businessman. He's very he's very much like a well, I shouldn't. Okay, I'll frame this correctly because I don't want to take too much hate for this. He's kind of like a polished Trump. And I say that meaning that he speaks better than Trump. He's not, he's better in the way that he's more, he's more polished. Um, he's a billionaire, legit billionaire. I mean, people can make all kinds of, you can make all kinds of, um, bring up questions about how Trump, came into his money. Some people say, well, because he got so much money from his father and quote unquote loans, and that he failed in real estate and such. I don't believe any of that personally. I not about the money. Sure, he got some money from his dad, but he was successful in real estate in New York. I mean, it's got to be one of the toughest places on the planet to be successful in real estate. And just because he declared bankruptcy a number of times doesn't mean anything to me. That just means he's smart. I mean, why take all the liability on yourself when you just leave it on the bank? And then if you have to default or something, you just default, and then someone else is holding all the issues. I personally know people that have bought and held commercial property and then not been able to sell it. And they just hold it, and they got to pay the taxes on it. They've just got to carry the property. They can't get rid of it unless they're selling it on literally pennies on the dollar, because nobody wants it, especially before like some of the crashes and stuff. Like former clients of mine had property in the Bahamas that they couldn't get rid of. They just had to hold on to it, and no, because nobody wanted to buy it. And this was after 2008. So I think he's smart, but this Vivek guy, geez, this Vivek guy he just sounds good. I mean, he's a bit young. I think he's in his 30s. I'm going to read this article and see if it does say this. I think it'll probably tell. Okay, so if the 2024 Republican contest ended today, the big winners would be Donald Trump, the presumptive nominee, and Vivek Ramaswamy. The entrepreneur has raised his national profile with an energetic, media-focused guerrilla campaign, and he probably has a moment ahead of him in the GOP race. He has popped into third place in some national polls, although always in single digits, meaning that he's just not. Third doesn't mean much right now. Like the overwhelming front runner is Trump. Nobody's going to beat him at this point. It's basically who can kind of step in, make themselves a name now that maybe in 2028 they run. So that would be seemingly what he's doing, or he's just raising his profile. Maybe, like I said, Trump takes him as a running mate. There's all kinds of plays, but he's too smart to think that he's going to beat Trump, unless he's egotistical and you know whatever. But I would think he's too smart to realize or to think that he can beat Trump. Uh, he generated a favorable reaction at the Family Leadership Summit in Iowa, moderated by Tucker Carlson, and has a good chance of excelling in the first Republican debate next month. Ramaswamy, who has no political experience and no chance of winning the nomination, rightfully has no business running for president, which should be about more than gaining notoriety in order to enhance other career opportunities, whether in media, politics, or something else. That's kind of what I just said. That said, there's no doubt that he's good at what he does. After Donald Trump, he might be the best communicator in the race. Certainly no one else in the rest of the field is clearly better than he is. Let's see if he says his age or anything here. No, I don't think so. Anyways, I'm pretty sure he's either in his late 30s, early 40s, somewhere in there. So he's young for presidential candidate, which would be nice after all these old men running all the time. It'd be nice to have a guy who's actually like a little closer to my age. Yeah. Anyways, so it's kind of a favorable article anyway. At least they're not saying too much bad about him. I just think that there's a chance that a guy like Ramaswamy, um, you know, you've got what's his face, DeSantis, and then whoever else. Basically the three top. I think they kind of steal votes from Trump. Unfortunately, I think they get some of the more moderates that might vote for Trump, and they take those votes away from him. But it doesn't matter now. Okay, I guess it doesn't really matter because Trump's going to get the nomination anyway. So he gets the Republican nomination. Now, I don't think if they run for Republican, I'm not sure if they can actually back out and then run independent. If that's the case, I don't know US politics that well. If that's the case that they can, well, then that would be a problem. that'd be like another Ross Perot back in the '90s when um, people arguably say that Ross Perot won the election for Bill Clinton. And in that case, well, then Ramaswamy needs to back off a little and whatever. But um, if that's not the case, then again, I think this is just bolstering his popularity, and it might be good for him to in a way that Trump takes him on as a running mate, or good for him at least for the 2028 election. Who knows what he's doing? But this guy's pretty crackerjack. I like him, so I hope he has a future in politics. I'd like to see him after Trump uh, does another cycle. We'll see if that happens though. Um, yeah, I don't necessarily think that Trump's going to win. I don't know. We'll see. I think I think the more they slam at him, the better chance he has to win. So, but we'll see. I'm just being funny when I say that. Um, okay. Let's let's get into the next thing here. Okay. This story this this story here, this just upsets me on all levels. So, basically a Canadian guy a couple months back was he was on the list for a kidney transplant, and 35-year-old guy. I guess he had diabetes. It'll say it in this article. I read this article real quick, and I'll read it again. But um, they they were basically they were going to give him the transplant. Then he had to go somewhere else to another hospital in Canada here, and then they denied it because of his vaccination status. I'm going to read this article. I'm going to try and tread careful here because I don't want to get in trouble by the overlords. But here we go. Sudbury man refused kidney transplant due to vaccination status. Uh, Dies. So this guy, Garnet Harper, 35, leaves behind a wife and 5 children. Wow, 5 children. That's awful. Okay, so reports say a Sudbury man has died of kidney disease after he could not get a kidney transplant because he refused to get the COVID-19 vaccine. A report by the on independent journalism or of independent journalism and repeated by the Western Standard said that Garnet Harper was diagnosed with stage 5 kidney disease in February of last year, also known as end stage renal disease. His organs were close to failure, so yeah, he was in bad shape. Through routine blood work, Harper discovered his kidney function was only 8%. Yeah, you're a goner. 8%. That's brutal. Okay, his only option was to receive a kidney transplant. Leal wrote that a doctor suggested to Harper he should get a COVID-19 vaccine to protect himself from getting the virus and getting sick. Harper, however, said he did not want to reveal his vaccination status, which should be his right. Harper's wife, Megan, told Leal that her husband was later referred to a London hospital for a possible transplant. He was considered a good candidate for transplant due to his young age of 35. We were told that we couldn't have a referral to a hospital in London if Garnet was not vaccinated for COVID-19, Megan said. So they said we couldn't begin the process. We couldn't even start to be considered to get onto a transplant list. Harper's family received similar responses when they contacted other hospitals in Ontario, the report said. So, okay, so here we go. So he died. Um, Anyways, this is where it gets gross. So I'm just going to kind of skip. You can see the picture here. He's got unmasked, unmuzzled, unvaccinated. So this guy was obviously pro-choice. So after Harper was placed on life support, Megan got a call from the Trillium program asking about organ donation, which angered her. That when I read that, it just made me like, ugh, like how sick. Like obviously the person who called couldn't know, like the Trillium, whatever the Trillium program in Canada is, it would be unaffiliated with. Well, I guess they must know somehow. So I don't know, but I don't think they'd be directly affiliated with the hospital. But maybe I'm full of shit. Maybe they are. I mean, the call comes at a pretty time. Anyways, she says, so they call you while you're sitting next to your dying loved one and they ask you if they can have his organs. Meanwhile, he wasn't good enough to receive organs from them. I can't describe the feeling. It makes me sick to my stomach. Yeah. So Trillium Gift of Life Network did not return phone calls placed by the Star asking for comment. Yeah, I guess not. Yeah. So that's about it. That's about all I can take on this article. It's pretty, how sad. How sad. What a disgusting time we live in. You would think over 3 years later we're kind of past that thing, but it seems we're still down to dumb people making dumb decisions. So that hospital, somebody made a decision there, and this guy had to die because of it. I don't even know what to say to that. I mean, my heart goes out to the family. 5 children. That's rough stuff. What are you gonna do? I mean, you are you willing to die for your beliefs? I guess this guy was. Uh, but when I read the article, there's a part of it that was talking about he thought he could beat it himself. He was probably a power of positivity type of person, which I'm not disparaging. That's great. Um, but unfortunately, I think his kidney function had gone too low by that point. And I mean, realistically, and again, this is not disparaging this guy. If he had diabetes and he has kidney problems, chances are he probably wasn't living a very healthy lifestyle to begin with. So for him to then just change his mind and say, "I'm going to beat this" without medical intervention, okay, he might have wanted to start earlier in life, you know, doing what you needed to do. And again, I'm not disparaging this guy. I feel very, very bad for him. Obviously, this was a raw deal. It's embarrassing that this is happening in Canada, this kind of thing. And I'm Canadian, so I apologize for all us Canadians up here because that's the Canadian thing to do. So I guess that's what I'm gonna do. Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, now that I got through that one, I was kind of dreading that story to go to that one because that one just bleh. It's just such a gross one. Thanks, Art, for that. My buddy Art made me aware of that one. Um, so he hurt my heart. Art hurt my heart. This one's funny. I was kind of looking forward to talking about this guy. So if you don't know who this guy is, Joey B Tunes, you should go look him up. He's funny. I get these little videos of him on Facebook all the time. They just show up. Uh, so I'm glad the algorithm is doing that to push this guy's stuff to me because his comments are funny, and you'll see. I'm gonna put one of his videos up here. Um, this one here. Okay.
Look at these two. Imagine taking a photo of a guy doing deadlifts in the middle of a crosswalk, then getting upset when someone crosses the street. Oh, you're influencing. Yeah, the only thing you're influencing is natural selection. Why don't you stay there a little longer, let it do its job? Yeah, then you got this one. Thinks the world is an amusement park. There you go. That's how you gotta treat these people. Just push them to the side. Yeah, let's take selfies with wild bears now. Why not? Look at her shocked. Who'd you think was going to stand up, put its arm around you, and make duck lips for your Snapchat? Then you got this one, taking a photo with her entire identity. God, they're everywhere.
Like really trying to get sponsored by them.
How about you really try to live a life without seeking validation? What is this shit? I don't think this guy needs a photo, honey. I'm thinking more of an exorcism. Well, this is the world we live in now, folks. The look at me generation, where everyone finds a way to make everything about themselves and make sure you see it. What a legacy to leave behind.
Yep, that's it. So he nailed it. He's not wrong. It's that's what it is. Everybody's an influencer. Yeah. I mean, it's funny because I'm making a video right now. I'm doing a podcast right now, just talking about shit. Whatever. It's not really hypocritical. Maybe a little bit. But it's this. What makes me laugh about it too is like I love when he points out the one girl gets mad because Buddy's just walking by. I mean, it's her world. He didn't know. He didn't get the memo. How could he know? I mean, he should know. He should have seen her and went, well, this is her space. I shouldn't walk through here because, then I would be disrupting her influencing. And, you see that all the time with these gym videos and people, they're shooting shots in the gym. Like everybody wants to watch you work out, apparently. I don't know, because you're an influencer. If you're doing a tip video or a review or something like that, people love that. People want to watch those kinds of things. Sadly, I think people are watching these, unfortunately, but the idea that you're so narcissistic to think that people are going to want to just watch you do weird stuff. And, you know, okay, sorry, let me frame this better. Not necessarily narcissistic for that. You're going to make some weird stuff. I make weird videos and stuff. So if your angle is to make people laugh and whatnot, or, then okay, fine, whatever. The idea that it's this whole encompassing idea that the world revolves around you in some way, that somebody, walking behind or through your shot or something like that in public space is like, they're an asshole for doing that. It's all of this that makes it the narcissistic. It adds the narcissism to the whole thing. You can make funny videos, do whatever you want. Like I love when people make funny videos. This Joey Tunes guy is literally just making fun of people doing stupid shit. Hilarious. So it's it's a funny, easy way to basically troll on people and make money. So good on him and good on anybody that's doing it. Just, maybe get out of your own narcissistic head about it, I guess. That's probably what my advice would be. All right, that's it. That's all I got. That's it. I don't have any more. I know you want more. I don't have any more. Somebody commented in the comments here. Thanks for saying lol nice. I don't know what that was about, but thank you for saying that. I don't know if you're saying I'm nice, you're laughing at me and then saying I'm nice. If you are, appreciate it. But yeah, so that's it. That's all I got. If you've watched it this far, hit the like, subscribe if you haven't already, share it with your friends, share it with everybody. I've got a low amount of subscribers at this point, but by next week, I want to have 10 times the amount of subscribers. So no pressure on anybody watching. So it's just on you to share it a bunch. And then people have to like it and all that, all that jazz. So anyways, thanks for watching. Thanks for being with me for another week. I'll see you next week, 7 o'clock on Monday, like always. And yeah, just take care of yourself out there. See you next time.